Today we're at the Citrus House, and the Citrus House is an Eichler. We're going to be talking about how we work with Eichlers, what's good about Eichlers, and maybe not so good about Eichlers. Let's take it away. Today I'm being joined by Craig Novak, who's the project manager for the Citrus House. The Citrus House is an Eichler, and Eichlers are really common in the Bay Area. Originally designed and built by Joseph Eichler, there's thousands of them in the Bay Area. These designs are really exemplified by this amazing connection between the inside of the house and the outside of the house. They typically have giant panes of single pane glass that form the entire back wall of the house and sometimes interior courtyards. They're extremely popular in this area, but they do pose some challenges. Some of those challenges are the single pane glass. It's often not well insulated and not well sealed around the perimeter. So these houses typically have a lot of rot that goes on around those glass. They also have radiant heating system, but instead of using PEX in the concrete slabs, they use copper, and that copper tends to break when those slabs shift with the changing soils and with earthquakes. So a lot of times the heating and cooling systems in these houses aren't very functional. And lastly, they're flat roof systems. And the flat roof is actually only 1.5 inches thick, and it's this decking that I'm standing on right here. And what happens is you put insulation over the top of these. Now, when they were originally built, they didn't put insulation over the top. So they are very drafty, to say the least, houses. And so today we're looking at the Citrus House with respect to after we've taken off the old kind of decrepit spray foam roof. And you'll see pictures here that show really a kind of disaster on the top of the house. We have this very uneven spray foam. We have plumbing and electrical systems running over the top of the roofing and really allowing a lot of debris to catch on here. So Craig, this place looks fantastic now. I mean, it is so organized and so clean. Tell me a little bit about not only the process for dealing with this type of project, because there is no crawl space and there is no attic space. So everything has to go either on the surface of those ceilings or on the roof. And, you know, on the roof isn't a great place to put it. So now I see it's on the roof, but it's on the deck of the roof and it's organized. So what are you doing? What's the future plan for this? And then how does that change the kind of goals and performance of this house?
So not to downgrade the Eichlers, let's build them up a little bit.
There you go.
We have had an excess of redwood trees before they harvested them incorrectly, but they were able to utilize redwood, which made these long-lasting houses. These are 75 years old, post-World War. So it was a matter of what could they do inexpensively and quickly, because there was a lot of people buying houses at that point in time. But what we found was a spaghetti of differing materials incorrectly applied, which created leak points in electrical systems, gas lines, improper gasketing. So we want to get that all tight to the deck so that we can build up with protective measures, metal caps over the wires, and add a real nice layer of dense insulation and put a proper drainage system on this roof cap.
So these chaseways that we have here that are surrounded by wood, they're going to get a metal protection system over the top of them.
Yes, four attachment points. We want to, they'll mark when they're doing their roof installation, and once that roof is done, there should be no penetrations in the future, because you don't want to penetrate this material.
Right.
But in that interim layer, we will put a heavy gauge steel that can't be penetrated by those screws.
Got it.
And then we have a perimeter drainage area that gets a slope foam that brings all the moisture to the jet downspouts.
Okay. And so on this project, we're not using spray foam, which was what was originally here. We're using a polyiso insulation that's sloped. It's literally foam that they've shaped to be a slope.
As our very top layer. So we will build up with continuum flat layers, and then we build slope layers that we can create drainage planes and direct the water to where we want to go. As you've probably seen in the previous pictures, puddling, debris piles, none of that will occur.
Okay. And so the consistent kind of solid layers, that's just to give us insulation levels.
Right.
That's just to make it so the house is comfortable.
That'll maintain a surface level instead of, it must have been modulating often just to try to keep up with the
Right.
cooling and heating.
Just, I mean, there's no such thing as air leakage testing in an Eichler, right? It's like living in a colander with windows.
Yeah, and we try. We did an addition in the back here where we've added insulated glass and insulated exterior,
Right.
spray foam interior. So we have a very nice room that actually, in typical terms, a glass room would be very hot, but that should be a very nice climate back there in the future.
So through kind of deliberate planning and organization of these projects, we can take what is generally a poor performing house and dramatically change how effectively it operates, how comfortable it is, how quiet it's going to be, how drafty it's going to be, by using materials that we use on a lot of our projects and just making it so that we're adapting to this. And I think what's really important, and it seems like you've done a great job here, is to really plan ahead to make sure that the things that we're putting down here are organized in such a way. I mean, when we first came up here, there was wires everywhere. And now, like, you have it in these like 8-inch wide chases kind of running very deliberately across the entire house.
Yeah, we had PVC conduit that's only supposed to be used underground, above a roof. It
Right.
wasn't UV protected. So we feel very good that all the circuitry is in place. It doesn't have access to a switch box where we were finding moisture inside the house.
Wow.
So
That's a good place to have water in the electrical panel.
switch. So
Yeah.
we've improved it greatly, and by the time we're done in a couple weeks, it'll be an amazing, comfortable house that they'll be able to have peace of mind and have a good idea that it's 30 years secure or more.
Right. And the clients are living here right now. So like, it's not like we blew this whole house apart to redo the roof and to build the addition on. Like, they're living here right now and they're happy. They're still happy,
Yeah,
right?
they're still happy. At least they took a vacation when we did the removal, because that's quite a noisy process.
Right,
2 days to get the foam off,
right.
and it was dusty and ugly and
Well, because there's spaces between these boards, so the dirt and the dust went in between the boards and into the house.
yes, and remnant of the previous tar and gravel roofs.
Got it.
So we had to protect the whole interior, and that would make it very hard for somebody to live in a space like that.
Yeah. Interesting. So if you're interested in learning more about the Citrus House or about Eichlers, hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way.